Good afternoon. I'm Kyle Kemper, one of the hosts of the Miami Crypto Experience. And today I'm here with Paul Puey. Paul is the CEO and founder of Edge Wallet, which is the official wallet of the Miami Crypto Experience. How are you doing, Paul?
Doing great here in sunny San Diego, which is where we're both at, although we will be making that trek to the other southern portion of the country next month for
I know.
the event of the year, Miami
The,
Crypto
the
Experience. Looking
event of
forward
the
to it.
year, potentially the greatest conference in crypto ever. I mean, we'll see.
Ever.
I don't want to set expectations or anything,
Yeah, you
but
do.
it's going to be awesome. I
Really
can
good times.
sense we're like Miami. It just has just a certain kind of like freedom and resonance, and like a lot of people and energy are coming towards there. So it's very excited, and I mean I am like super thrilled that that Edge is going to be participating. Paul, you are one of the individuals who I trust more than anybody else in this space. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a testament to who you are. You are a man of integrity. You have been like crushing it with Edge Wallet and like building secure open source solutions. Like tell me like in your words, what is Edge Wallet and and why is it so important?
So, Edge at its heart is an attempt at making what I think is a very successful attempt at making self custody far, far easier for the average user. Not having to deal with words that you write down on a piece of paper, saving of this file and encrypting that. We try to make holding, sending, receiving, and also buying, selling, and trading cryptocurrency as familiar as possible to regular financial apps that a user might use, like a Venmo, a PayPal, a Robinhood, and whatnot. And so that's really the goal is we want to get people off those centralized custodial solutions, like the Coinbases, the Krakens and whatnot, especially if you don't need the fancy, fast, high frequency trading, professional trader stuff. And you're just a retail investor. Why leave your money there? Why use those services when you can use a product like Edge, hold your keys, have a much higher level of privacy, autonomy, and freedom than what you would have with using the equivalent of basically crypto bank accounts. That's what we've been really focused on over the past, 7, 8 years now. Got into the space in 2013, launched what was originally Airbit's, now Edge, in 2014, and that's been our mission. And I think we're really starting to ramp up with that, especially over the past few years since we navigated into Edge or pivoted into Edge.
Right. And like in the beginning, I mean, like one of the things that absolutely everybody in crypto needs is a wallet. Like, you can't play the game unless you have a wallet, right?
That's
So,
ideally to actually truly participate in cryptocurrency. Yes, you need a wallet, which me, Kyle. I hate that word at this point now in time because it doesn't know
well,
we
I
don't know
know.
what it is anymore. Like Coinbase
I
will hold your dollars and call it a wallet. Suddenly it's like, oh, I got a wallet. I got this, this exchange wallet, blah, blah, blah. And so you don't really know what it means anymore. I got this piece of paper, QR code on it. I guess that's a wallet. Yep. But
well,
you need
and that's right.
you
And that's
need
right. So I would say that I agree. I agree. And I would say that Edge is a super wallet. And it's a super app really because yeah, it enables anyone. Like I recommend Edge to people as like, the first step in the journey because it's a great way. And I also recommend Dogecoin is my gift to be able to introduce people to show them how it works. And it's just like, and because I think Doge is good training wheels, but we won't talk about Doge. We all love Doge
another time.
another time. But Edge is just a fantastic way for people to understand. And unlike a lot of the other wallets out there, there was always the seed mnemonic, which was the 12 words that you'd have to write down for any self-custody wallet. Now you don't have those with the Coinbases, but those aren't self-custody wallets. Those are effectively like
They're
crypto
bank
banks.
accounts.
They're bank
They're crypto
accounts, they're
banks.
crypto
Exactly.
banks, they're custodians, their
It's a
keys,
four-letter
their
word,
coins.
bank.
Right. Right. Exactly. But like with the self custody for a long time, one of the challenges was the words. And I remember, like, I've told so many people about, okay, right, a couple down here and a couple down there and a couple over there. And like, here's how you can kind of back it up and be secure. But Edge really solved this, right?
Absolutely. It makes it where those words still exist. You still own them, you still control them. They're buried inside of the application. Only you have access to them. But the jumble of all of those words for each different wallet, which you could even import words from another app that you really should leave and bring it over into Edge. You can import those words, all get encrypted into a bundle, automatically backed up, automatically synchronized if you've got two different devices. You got maybe your Android phone and your iPad, automatically synchronized. And it makes it feel like a cloud account but fully client-side encrypted, much more private, and much more autonomous. You get that familiarity. You even have password recovery capabilities that are a little bit different than your traditional banks. You have to set up password recovery, but you also get two-factor authentication at the touch of a button, automatic IP validation. So as soon as you create your account, you do need a username and password, which a lot of people are like, oh God, damn, not another password. But it's a whole lot better to have a password you generate that you're more familiar with than this gigantic 24 words, 12 to 24 words that you have to then write down, because it's just, for the most part, to the average person, completely unmemorable. And one thing people forget is those 24 words. If you write those down and put them somewhere unsafe that someone else sees, the money's gone. You take your credentials to Edge and you write them down. If you feel like, oh, I picked a really good password, I might forget it, and you write that down, put it where someone else sees, they don't have access to your money because your account is automatically IP validated. They would need access not only to your credentials, but to IP addresses that you've used in the past. And this is a common security measure that a lot of accounts utilize. And we're able to do that by utilizing this hybrid model of not just purely writing down a key, but having an encrypted account that has to authenticate with our infrastructure. So we can protect the accounts much more rigorously than just simply the key you write down.
And it's something familiar. I mean, like crypto for a lot of, I mean, we're now, the adoption is greater than it's ever been before. It's incredible where we are today, 11 years into this crazy Bitcoin journey. But familiarity is something that's really important. So a username and password as a way to get started is there. And then once you're in, then it's like, then you can do the sending, you can do the requesting, you can buy, you can one of my favorite features of it is the gift cards. I can buy like while in line at Starbucks, I can get a $20 gift card, boom, right delivered. Or I bought a pair of shoes the other day. I was like, okay. And there's a huge Rolodex of there. So you can actually utilize the crypto. And then but I feel like this is just an essential app because, when we think about crypto from a hodl perspective, and then the hodling is cool. It's treating crypto just like a savings account, and Edge supports that too, but it also really facilitates it as a currency and enabling sending and receiving and requesting of money for general transactions. So, if we go out for lunch and you pay with the credit card and I can pay you back with crypto, and it's easy. And I just feel that's really important that everybody's got a mobile wallet. And it's amazing how many people in crypto don't even have a mobile wallet. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because so many people aren't trying to experience and utilize crypto yet, but they will get there. They'll realize the benefits of doing so. They'll realize that, hey, I can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world with just an internet connection. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't matter what school they went to, whether they have a bank account. I can send that to them. All they need is an internet connection and a mobile phone. And once they realize the power of that, and also the power of promoting it, like the fact that, hey, if I pay this person in crypto, they'll suddenly be bought in. They now have a little ownership in the entire crypto ecosystem, which they can then be motivated to promote. I still remember, Kyle, when you came by, when you didn't live in San Diego yet, you came by to visit one time when on your way to Mexico, and went to go have lunch, and you paid me back in Doge when Doge was sub penny. And from this year, I'm like, woohoo, thank you, Kyle, for paying me back.
I know. I mean, how well has that worked? How great is the track record of compensating people or settling small debts with people with crypto? It's a pretty, I mean, it's has it ever gone wrong?
It's basically viral. In a way, it basically helps promote crypto because people then get to taste what it's like, and then they get to experience that, the euphoria, obviously, when prices go up, a little bit of that sadness when it goes down, but mostly these are, like you said, they're small debts. And usually with these small debts, if it goes down a bit, people don't care. And it doesn't go, and even in crypto, the worst case is it goes down 90%, 95%. At worst case, it goes to zero. So if you sell a small debt of 5, 10, 20, I think it was $40 for lunch, right? So I lose $40. But you realize that the most you can do in crypto is lose all of it, right? That's 100% loss, but the gain could be thousands percent. So the risk
Exactly.
reward
Like, dude,
ratio
the
is so much
Doge,
more in favor.
the Doge from 3 years ago. Yeah, that's probably like, that's 3,000% probably, like,
I
that
think that
was that
lunch
was
paid for
yielded
like
on
a
that.
yacht that I got for my wife for her birthday. That I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't buy her the yacht. It was a yacht trip. It was like a few hours on,
I
in the
mean,
harbor,
you've
hanging
got
out with friends. It
incredible
was,
and like so fantastic. And I look back at the journey. I mean, I was giving out 10,000 bits back in the day, like nothing else. But oftentimes too, back in the day, I would set people up with like other wallets that weren't Edge or Airbits that had the seed mnemonics, and people lost the words and they got locked out. And so boom, like
yeah, I get really
forever
bummed
gone.
about that.
I get
Yeah, and
really
probably the
bummed
worst part
about that.
is that they start to write off crypto completely, right? Even if they had, especially if they had a gain, because then it feels like, oh my God, I lost all that money. It wasn't the $40 I got from that payback for dinner. It was the 400, the $4,000 because it went up in value. And then they write it off and they're not going to get into crypto until they absolutely have to at that point. So I think that's a key thing people don't realize is that sure, it's a lesson learned, blah blah blah. But many people, many will get over that and go, okay, lesson learned. At least it was only $40. Now I know I'm going to write down my words in a good, secure place that I know where it is, blah, blah, blah. But many people don't get over that. And you lose now the potential advocates of crypto that, could have been creating that, viral component. They tell 10 people, though each of those 10 people tend to tell 10 people. And that's what's kind of sad is like, because I was one of those people that lost some crypto. Luckily, I was on the category of, ugh, lesson learned. Let me go ahead and make sure that I do secure this stuff really well and not misplace that piece of paper. But for many people, that's above and beyond what they want to deal with, especially because it's so unfamiliar.
And that's the nuts and bolts of Edge is like this was the problem. This was the mega problem, and we've
Yep.
solved that. And also there was the time when it was like you had an app for every single every single coin. And like, oh my gosh, like you think 12 words is bad? Think about 12 times 12.
12 times 12,
Like,
exactly.
now so Edge is has created this secure vault effectively, that is redundant. So I lose my phone, I'm not like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to find the words, because in the last case, like if I lost my phone, I need to find the word. I just need my username and password. And you make sure and you teach, and I feel like the app also teaches people about passwords too, by telling them how weak or how strong or how long it would kind of take.
We can how strong, and also tries to remind people what their password is, saying, hey, do you recall it, re-enter it? Because the human brain is all about repetition, right? When you've entered something once or created that password, you remember it for probably the next couple of days. After that, you remember maybe half of it. So
Yeah,
the app actually
did
slowly
did I
kind of
use a
remind it.
1 or a 2 with the
Exactly. Unfortunately, people can biometrically log in on Edge. You can use a PIN, which is very memorable, simple 4 digits. But we put in logic into the app to say, hey, this person hasn't entered their password in a while. Let's see if they remember it. And if they don't, they now have a chance to reset it before they lose their phone. Right. So when you get a new phone, you do need that password to get back into it, or another device that has access. But on your same phone that you've already used and already have Edge on, they can log in with a PIN or biometric, and that's your opportunity to go, do I remember my password? Let's try it. And if I get it wrong and I really don't remember it, then I can go and reset it right then and there. So we've tried to really factor in human nature, like, and not just be so harsh and hardlined about, hey, here's your key. Sure, your key is your coin, but you messed it up. Sorry, that's it. How do humans actually behave? What are our imperfections? We're not computers, right? We're not computers. We're human. We make mistakes, and apps should be built to compensate for that. Like, give people some forgivability. Right? I think that's what makes good applications good, is they factor that in, and with that comes more adoption.
Yep. And I think, this is one of the keys to adoption. That's why I'm so stoked that, you're going to be the official wallet of the Miami crypto experience. So what does that mean? I mean, we want to encourage crypto at every step of the journey. And because I think once we realize, this is one of the great things, is once you realize that if everybody has a wallet and we're all actually holding and using crypto, we've now reach that point in adoption where the existing model, that I think we all know the existing model has some pretty serious flaws to it, that the new model wins and it makes it obsolete. So,
Absolutely.
you know, this is really one of the points of the whole Miami crypto experience is we want to showcase, you know, in use and encourage everybody to recognize, like, you know, hodl your savings, spendle your checkings, and give with love. And in order to do that, you got to have a wallet. Everybody should have like Edge on their phone. You don't necessarily need to keep all of your value in Edge.
Mhm.
It's one tool in the crypto stack, right?
Right, exactly. It's one tool that lets you once again buy, sell, trade, transact, send, receive, hold, go from
I mean,
different
it's a super
cryptocurrencies to each
tool.
other.
It's a super
I
tool.
like, sure, I'd love to say that. A little super tool, some little
It's I mean,
Superman
you're a
out there.
Superman and it's a super tool and it
Oh,
does
thank
a
you,
lot.
thank
I
you.
mean, you can like, yeah, I mean, you can trade right within the app, you know,
Yep,
with that you can
exactly.
trade. And and it just uses exchange partners that don't even have KYC, or some of them do, but like you can swap one coin for another right there.
Yep. Going from
And
one coin to another, by default, no KYC. Some of them may require it if you exceed certain limits and whatnot, but we actually also connect to DEXs. So if you happen to, if a DEX can provide the best price, then there's absolutely no KYC. That's the one that's going to get chosen. We're adding more every few quarters. There's more partners that get added, and we're going to be even adding decentralized cross-chain DEXs soon. So things like ThorSwap, Chain Flipper, we're in discussion. So now it's not just about Ethereum and its tokens or, you know, some other chain and their tokens. It's potentially going from one chain complete to another with no third party. And you're fully holding your coins, not just holding your coins when the transaction settles, but even really holding control as it goes through a decentralized exchange. There's no actual company or person or counterparty that the funds will have to flow through. That makes me really excited because now that becomes such that no party can actually hold your funds if they choose to in the interim. No government can say, hey, please don't let that transaction go through. It's just simply out to the network and back in your hands. Super excited about that upcoming.
I mean, your excitement makes me excited. And you talk a lot of big words in there and some complicated kind of like technical stuff. If you are into crypto, come to Miami, learn from Paul. If you really understand all that stuff that he was just mentioning, come learn, because this is the future of where it's going to be going. And I am really confident in knowing that we have amazing wizards like Paul who are leading the charge in building this, you know, strong foundation, like thinking about the human nature of it, because this is so freaking critical. It's so critical. It's the most important. And like, you know, and there's and you mean how much value is stored within the Edge wallets?
Gosh, Kyle, this is the most important question that you've asked throughout this entire podcast. And the answer is we have no effing clue because that's how much we care about people's privacy. We built this app to make sure we don't know how much people are storing in the app. We don't know when you make a transaction to send money, send some Doge to pay back Kyle for lunch. We don't know when Kyle sends you some Doge to onboard you onto the world of cryptocurrency.
So you don't
That is
know.
what you can.
You don't know.
We just simply
You have
don't know.
no idea. You're a bank
No
and
idea.
you're creating like a
We're
bank
not a bank.
like infrastructure, like
Feels
like
like one, so it's
feels
familiar,
like, yeah, no,
but it's
exactly.
absolutely not under the covers. Under the covers, it's anything but a bank, anything but that. All right. It is basically your leather wallet, but turned into this digital vault that can hold and transact and also do things that a leather wallet obviously can't do, like turn your dollars into euro. Right here, we can turn Bitcoin into Ethereum, into Doge and whatnot. So yeah, it's a super high powered vault inside your pocket that can do many different things. But you're right. There's no analogy to this in the real life. Crypto has made it where money has no analogy to money that we know today.
And
And
the
that's
things
what's
that
so
are
exciting.
possible too. And like, you know, and now with DeFi and some of these decentralized services, you can do things within the wallet that otherwise would require permission from somebody in a bank to do.
You could take out loans. Right? Can you imagine the thought of taking out a loan without having to fill out an application? It sounds almost like mind blowing.
I
Now I'm
know.
so excited to be able to see things like this. I'm like, oh my God, you know, you could place bets now, maybe not inside Edge right now, but you can place bets on events, you know, through decentralized apps like Augur. These are like event marketplaces. So I think the landscape of what we can do without counterparties is, I won't call it endless, but you know, we've just kind of scratched the surface, and we'll see a lot more coming down the pipe. Much like when we first saw the internet, we thought it was about email and maybe voice over IP. We didn't see the landscape of ride sharing and social media, all the stuff that we would have never thought would have been possible in like the early mid 90s when the internet came out. We'll see things like that with crypto. And even when I first got into the space in 2013, I would have never imagined that I would be able to take out a loan with no counterparty. Now that blows my mind. I'm very excited about it. And I use it. I use these products. They're not just about gambling and investing and price go up. It's like, hey, actually using true financial services with no counterparty. It's blows my mind. I love it.
And like they're working, and like they're
Mhm.
getting better, and now like it's been proven. So it's like we've struck gold. Now it's like there's so much gold here. Like we need other people to come in and start mining this that we can all like do better. So this is about like teaching and educating. So I really am like super stoked that at the conference, and we'll be able to talk about that. But even beyond the conference too, that Edge is just so well positioned in this, and it seems to me like I've long thought like I could use this. I want to use this as like my my basically like my last pass, because it's effectively that I should be able to log in to everything. Like I don't want to use Facebook to log in to Zoom. I want to use Edge. Like I want to have my keys, and I feel like you're building this. And one of the things I really appreciate about yourself too is like you don't rush. Like you don't like you're not like too crazy about, okay, let's do this, let's try and do, because I know like I can be a little bit like, okay, like, but
I've been
you're
that
like,
way, Kyle. So I'm guilty of
I
that as
know.
well. So I had to kind of learn over the 8 years I've been in the space. I've definitely been guilty of that. Tried to do too much at one point in time,
Right.
and I still want to do a lot that I'm having like, oh, hold back. I know you're the big fan of that 3-letter word that I'm afraid you haven't said in this entire podcast. That little 3-letter word starts with an N, ends with a T, and we don't, we haven't really entered that space yet. But just like you said, we kind of have to take our time, make sure we do things right, as opposed to just trying to do everything.
Yeah, well, there's going to be lots of NFTs in Miami, and we're going to have it, and we'll be able to explore that as well. Because
Yep.
again, like this is there is so much, and you need to take a measured approach, because at the end of the day, you have built a solution that is, you don't know exactly how much value is being stored, but there's a lot of value being stored within the ecosystem and within the Edge
Oh yeah, for
ecosystem.
sure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we can estimate,
oh
but we
yeah.
don't know exactly. We can kind of estimate a bit as far as how much has been is being held, and it's definitely a lot. Is the best way I can say it. Like there's a lot in here just from like the trade. We do see trade volume when people go and buy and sell and swap between one asset and another. We can see that even on the dexes, you can see it because it's very public. So based on the trade volume, we can kind of guesstimate that we've definitely got maybe even approaching in the hundreds of millions of dollars stored in Edge, but we don't know. It's just a guesstimate.
And you don't know, and
Definitely
and,
don't
and even if you did know, I mean, even if you got a really good idea, like there's nothing anybody can do to you towards like compromising an individual's account.
know.
Like if they
You got a good strong
oftentimes like,
credentials. Yes, there's nothing they could do. So we do advocate make sure you do have good strong credentials, good password, enable two-factor, and with that level of security, meaning a good strong password. Yeah, there's people could have 100% access to our entire ecosystem. They wouldn't have access to your funds.
and you could have it
We could be
like
subpoenaed.
like Coinbase, for example, they can have like they could have like maybe 5 employees that coordinate an attack. Like
Absolutely.
they have access potentially. I'm sure they have
And it
safeguards,
takes less
but
than five. It takes probably one person, one very trusted person in Coinbase could take out at least their hot wallet, which could be millions and millions of dollars worth.
and that
So
cannot be done in Edge. It's simply not
cannot be
possible.
done.
Simply
Yeah, there's no
simply
one
not
person in the
possible.
company, no one person in the company, and actually even not even multiple people in the company can corroborate. Not even if everybody in the company corroborated, we couldn't figure out where the money is. Like there's millions of accounts in Edge. Each of them are encrypted with different credentials. We wouldn't even know where the money is. Like which account has the most value? We don't know. So, and then from that, trying to brute force the accounts is incredibly expensive, painstaking, time consuming, and whatnot. And with very strong credentials, we simply wouldn't be able to. So that's the model that we've built. It's a hybrid model from the hey, write down your keys to the Coinbase, but it gets you what we consider to be the best of both worlds. Right? That familiarity, that user experience you might be accustomed to in a more centralized financial service, but with the autonomy, privacy of actually holding your own keys.
And you've got like, you know, and you got a big team too, right? Like I know that like messages get responded to very quickly.
Definitely our support team is one of our largest departments because we want to make sure people do get responded to very timely. I know some of these big companies have been blasted on social media and regular media for just having really piss poor support. That's something we definitely don't want to have. And if there's anything we've noticed is that some of our best reviews have been about our support team. Like, hey, they respond timely, they get back to you, they resolve my issues. Sometimes we resolve issues for people, even if it's not in Edge. It's, hey, somebody sent, or I sent some money to somebody's XXX app, wallet, whatnot, from Edge to something, and we help troubleshoot the receiving of those funds in another application. We just want to help people make sure they have a positive experience with crypto as a whole.
I mean, you're the
towards
front,
Edge.
you're the front line for a lot of
Yep.
people. Like, you know, this is the core experience. And,
Yep.
you know, you can like you can store a lot in there. There's no limit to how much you can store. You can have multiple accounts. There's no limit to how many accounts. Like, there's no personal information required to sign up for an account, right?
No personal information to sign up with an account. You may need some personal information to buy and sell from fiat currency, like with your credit card or your bank account. That would require some personal information. None of that goes to Edge. It entirely goes to our exchange partners, and none of that information is associated with your keys inside of Edge, like basically your public addresses, the many public addresses you may have, and it's not associated with your login credentials. So if you have, you know, username, password, blah blah blah, there's no way that our partners that provide the buy and sell service could corroborate that to your account credentials on Edge. Right? They're fully disconnected. All they see is an address that the app sends to them to receive funds. That's all. So definitely
Incredible.
a
So
high
this
level of
this is
privacy.
really just like, you know, this is a snapshot into the world of Edge, and Paul Puey, you know, one of the leader geniuses behind it. Paul is going to be giving a speech and potentially a workshop at the event on self-custody, important of keys. Like the team's going to be there. You know, there's an opportunity for everybody to get you know, get Edge Wallet going and, you know, get Q&A. And we want to turn the students into the masters so that we can really activate, you know, ultimately we want, like, Miami's turning into this hotspot. Like, let's get as many people with crypto, familiar with how to use crypto, the businesses accepting crypto, and hopefully we'll have some announcements to make there as well. Right, Paul?
Oh yeah, we definitely have some announcements to make. You talked about customer support. We've got announcements to make probably in the next few weeks. I think we're going to revolutionize and offer something that no company has ever offered in the landscape of customer support, because that is a very valuable thing to us. So keep your ears, you know, listen to a lot of our social media channels. Check us out and follow us on Twitter. Reach out to us on our support page if you need to, support.edge.app, but definitely keep an eye out. Subscribe to our newsletter. You're going to hear some great news regarding our support system for the users of Edge pretty soon in the next couple of weeks.
Amazing. Can't wait to hear. Excited as always. All right, Paul. Well, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you in Miami, buddy.
You too as well, Kyle. See you then. Hopefully sooner too.
Indeed. Indeed.
Take care.
All right. Ciao.